Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Friday afternoon. It is in my area. It is 12:30, and I want to encourage someone with a story from our Bible. And the story that I want to encourage you through is the story of David and Goliath. Now we know that David and Goliath, their story is in 1 Samuel 17. There is a verse that I want to just alert you to, and I'm going to read it really quick. And verse 44 says, "Come here," he said. This is Goliath talking to David. "Come here," is what he said. Now, if you, for me, in order for me to think about the size difference when it comes to Goliath, who was the Philistine, and David, the only thing that I can think of that is remotely close is Andre the Giant. If you ever grew up watching WWF or wrestling, we know that Andre the Giant was a wrestler. We know that Andre the Giant had a medical condition that messed with his pituitary gland, which caused him to be massive. So when I think of or can try to picture it in my mind, I have to use Andre the Giant. Okay, so we know that the characteristics of Andre the Giant, we know that he was massive in height and weight. Okay, so we know that the only way that his opponents were able to beat him or defeat him in a fight was they had to be skillful in speed. Okay, so that was the only way that Andre the Giant could be defeated, was that the fighter that was fighting him could only beat him because of speed. We know things that about Andre the Giant. We know that he was not healthy, because can you imagine the amount of blood that was needed to be pumped to the heart to go to and fro? A heart of that size, it had to be massive, because everything on him was massive. I believe they said that Andre the Giant wore a shoe size of like 27 or 30. Can you imagine what his shoes looked like? Okay, I want you to continue to have that picture in your mind. Okay, and you, me, we are David of this story. Can you imagine? I am 5'4". Can you imagine standing up to a man of this magnitude? All right, I want you to go back to scripture 44. Goliath said, "Come here." And I wonder, why did Goliath say, "Come here"? Well, Goliath said, "Come here," was because he was a skillful fighter. We know that he was skillful, but Goliath was only skillful in hand-to-hand combat. And the reason why he's telling David to come here is he's trying to pull David into his style of fighting. Okay, but we know that God is a God of provision. So we know that a few verses up, we know that David was a young man that spent a lot of time with the sheep. And it also tells us in our word that David was a young man that said that he pulled a sheep out of the mouth of a lion. Okay, and if anything we know about lions in the natural, we know by the time we get to their mouth, it's over. Okay, we know they have powerful jaws, and we know that putting our hand in the mouth of a lion is a death sentence for us. But here we have our good brother David that is saying to you, he's telling Saul, "I was out in the wilderness and I fought lions and pulled my sheep out of the mouth of a lion." Get this. We are the David in this situation. Okay, the adversary, Satan, is the Goliath in this situation. And the reason why Satan is saying to you, come here, because Satan is only skillful at hand-to-hand combat. Where do we do hand-to-hand combat? We do hand-to-hand combat in the natural. But David is a master at what God has given him as far as weaponry. Even in our story, David was given Saul's armor, but David knew that that wasn't his weapon. That wasn't his weapon inside of his war chest. David knew that his weapon was the weapon and the time that God gave to him in the wilderness. David was skillful at a slingshot and a smooth rock. Okay, so as we think about, and get this, I want you to get this, I want you to get this, I want you to get this. The adversary is the Goliath. He's trying to pull you into a fight that is hand to hand, that is a fight in the natural, when he knows that every fight starts in the supernatural realm. Okay, God is on our side, and we are the David in this situation. God has made us skillful in our wilderness, and he has given us weaponry that we know how to use, because using the weaponry of Saul was foreign to us. Okay, so we knew that we can't use that. God has given us a whole war chest, and we are familiar with every weapon that is in our war chest. Okay, so our weapon of choice is prayer and posture. Okay, so Goliath, the adversary, is trying to pull you into a fight, and he's trying to use his height and weight as an advantage for him. That's why he's saying, come here. But anybody that has defeated Goliath, we defeat him with speed. And we defeat him because we know the position. We know our position, and we know our weaponry before we begin to fight. The only way that Goliath can be defeated, the only way the adversary can be defeated, is in prayer. The only way the adversary can be defeated is in the supernatural realm, and that realm requires us to pull up our arsenal of prayer. Our posture is another weapon that we can use. So don't get caught fighting a fight using weapons that you are unfamiliar with, fighting an adversary that can't see you, because most giants have eyesight trouble. Most giants are very slow. Okay, and most giants like to use their weight and height as an advantage. So don't allow the adversary to pull you in a fight that you will pull you into a fighting style that you are not accustomed to. Pull you into a fighting style that will cause you to be defeated, because you are in the arms of the enemy, when your weapon to defeat the Goliath is your speed. Guys, have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. You have the victory, because Jesus said we have been victorious. Okay? You have the victory. Don't allow the strongholds of Goliath to try to teach you to fight a fight, or to fight a fighting style that you are not accustomed to. You will lose every time. But David was confident that he could defeat this giant. And he was confident because of the training and the weaponry that he had. You too can defeat your Goliath. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye.